Hello again. My name is Rob Henson, an elder on the session here at First Pres. I'd like to welcome you back to our next video on the Beyond Our Walls campaign to fund our annual appeal for stewardship, mission, and ministry in 2021. You should have received from the church office a letter already that has some graphs in it, some descriptions of our 2020 budget year. We have two exciting things to celebrate about our 2020 budget so far. If you look at the graph on the top part of the page, we are at 99% of our anticipated revenue for 2020. It's pretty exciting given the impacts of COVID-19. We've just come through the hardest part of the church giving year, the summer, when attendance is usually down and was significantly down because of COVID. And still, as of August 30, we're finding things to be pretty stable on the revenue side. On the expense side of our budget, the investments we make in mission and ministry, the good work of our staff has us at 97% of expected expenses through August 30th. That too is a reason to celebrate all the blessings that we have here at First Pres. One of the interesting things about the Beyond Our Walls annual stewardship campaign is that we're doing it this year ahead of making our budget for 2021. The cycle is usually reversed, but with Kevin gone on his sabbatical, much deserved time of rest, reflection, and renewal for him, we won't get a chance to do our budget until he's back. And so that means this year we'll be doing things differently as we take a look at what do we anticipate our revenues to be for 2021 based on this appeal. And that will help us be very good stewards of how we'll invest those dollars in the 2021 budget. So let's take a look together at how things have come together for 2020, which we do expect to be a pretty reasonable template for what we'll put together for the 2021 budget. Take a look at this graph. You can see where our revenues come from. The largest part of our revenue comes from pledges. That's when friends, members, and households, all a part of the First Pres family, make a pledge that help us understand what they anticipate to give over the course of a year. That really is the best tool we have to predictably budget for how we'll make mission and ministry investments. The second largest chunk of our revenue comes from our endowment. Many generous members over generations here at First Pres have contributed to the endowment. That endowment is wisely invested, and a portion of those earnings are turned over to the session every year from the trustees to help support the annual operations of the church. The next part of our budget comes from what we call unpledged giving. These come from friends, members, and households who give a predictable sum every year, but for lots of good reasons have decided not to make a formal pledge. Their giving, though, is so predictable that it creates a pattern that allows us to budget for that. The next part of giving is what we call loose, and that's what comes in the collection plate. That comes from friends and guests and visitors who make a contribution while they're here with us. As you can see, this comes to around $527,000 a year. That's been pretty stable for us for a while. What we'd like to do this year, and why this year's goal for Beyond Our Walls is $500,000, is we'd like to increase our pledged giving and even our unpledged, so that we can be less dependent on the endowment. That way the endowment can be redirected away from annual operations and really committed to things that are truly extraordinary, truly things that are outside normal operations and focus on issues where we'd like to make a bigger impact. Now let's take a look at expenses. Where is it that we make wise investments of what our friends and members have given to us to use for the mission and ministry of our congregation? As you can see on the chart, the largest portion of that goes to professional ministry. That's investing in the staff who do excellent work for us, with us, and on our behalf inside the congregation and out in the community. Our second largest expense, the investments we make in our stewardship of place. Our corner here in downtown Evansville, this facility that not only houses the place that we worship and do ministry, but also is a home to nonprofits, places where people who are coming to gather for healing and community meetings. Stewardship of place, this truly is a resource that's used not just by us, but from people all across our community. The next several items include ways that we reach out, form, and educate. So we're very happy as a congregation that a little over 10% of everything that comes in goes right back out into the community to make a difference as we partner with nonprofits and organizations that are doing transformational work. We also commit portions of our budget to continue and to enhance the amazing worship opportunities that we offer, not just in the context of Sunday worship, but other opportunities that might be more open to the community, such as organ concerts and other performances. And of course, faith formation, from the young to the not so young, is an important part of what we do at First Pres. So that summarizes the expenses, the investments that we make in mission and ministry. So thank you for being a part of this video. Next week's video is my favorite. You'll get a chance to hear from the people and the ministries and nonprofits that are impacted directly by your giving. They'll get to say something to all of us about the ways that we transform their lives and the work they do. Thank you for joining me today. Look forward to seeing you next week.